My intuition is telling me there'll be better days.
What's up, beautiful ladies and gentlemen? How is everyone doing today? If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Natalie and this is my channel, Music to Makeup. So I'm really excited about today's video, and it's going to be an eyeshadow palette tag. Now, I love me a good eyeshadow palette. Like, it's an obsession. Like, I'm obsessed with eyeshadow palettes, blending brushes, it's just everything, but I especially love eyeshadow palettes. And when I saw this tag video, number one, I also love tag videos. I'm like, eyeshadow palettes, tag video, count me in. So that's what we're going to be doing today. This tag was originally created by Ashley Clady and Andrea Modelano. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, I knew this was something I wanted to do. So if you are interested in seeing my answers to these palette questions, then keep on watching. And if you do like this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up, and please just hit that subscribe button while you're here. I would greatly appreciate it. Alright guys, let's get into this video. So, all about my eyeshadow palette questions. The first question is, show your newest palette. So, you guys might be able to guess this already, but it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette volume 4. I am actually wearing that today, and it's dirty already, and I haven't even had it that long. But this is what I'm wearing today, plus a couple like ColourPop shadows. But I have this color A2 like all over the lid, and I'm obsessed with this palette and with this look. I really think this is just like the perfect spring and summer palette. They blend out beautifully. The quality is amazing. I don't know what else I can say about it. Okay, show your oldest palette. Oh my gosh, I basically just keep this palette for sentimental reasons because it's like completely dried out. I've had it for so long, and it's actually not my original one, it's my second one, but it is this MAC Volux Pearl Fusion shadow in Brown Luxe. So this baby right here is kind of what drew me into the makeup world. I always was a fan of makeup, and like in nursing school, like that was me and my friends' thing. We would go to MAC, like, because Sephora wasn't around back then, it was just MAC. And you know, like if we got a good grade on a test, you know, we're like, let's go to MAC. But I was going to a friend's birthday party, and I stopped at MAC to get her something for her present, and then I also needed some foundation. So I'm like, I might as well just get my makeup done since I'm going to be spending the money there. And the makeup artist used this palette, and when I saw the look, I was just like so amazed and intrigued at how just the certain placement of colors could completely transform your eye look, like in the way you looked. It was just like so interesting to me, like, oh my gosh, that's some sort of like voodoo magic. How did she do that? So I bought this palette, and YouTube was like starting to get big, so I was like Googling tutorials of this palette, trying to recreate it. Of course I couldn't find anything, but yeah, this palette compared to the palettes that are out today, like, is crap. But this is really what kind of made me fall in love with makeup. Like, I hate how thin the pans are. Like, how are you supposed to get a brush in there without getting in the other colors? But anyways, I ended up getting like every single color of this type of palette. I only kept a couple of them because they are so old. They're definitely expired. This is the blue one. But yeah, so MAC was first, and then it was like I would find a brand, kind of fall in love with it, and then buy all their eyeshadow palettes. After MAC, it was Too Faced. So my like palettes after that, like the first one after that was the Too Faced Natural Eyes. Oh, I remember being like so obsessed with this palette. It's not even funny. And one of the reasons I loved Too Faced palettes so much was because I was still learning, you know, eyeshadow and everything, and it would come with these little inserts, and they would have looks on them and then how to recreate it. So that was like one way I taught myself how to do my eyeshadow. So the next question is, what is your most expensive palette? Now, I did buy the Natasha Nona Lila palette when it was on sale for like $88, and I used it and it was gorgeous, but it was just like, I can't like rationalize paying so much money, even though it was on sale from $125 for an eyeshadow palette, so I returned it. So okay, I kind of have two categories. The most expensive, like overall, is actually this Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, and this was $67. Now, I also have, which are very close behind it, these two Natasha Nona palettes, which are $65. But if we're talking about most expensive for the least amount of product, it's definitely going to be these Natasha Nona eyeshadow palette 5s. So these were the first Natasha Nona eyeshadows I tried, and of course I fell in love with the shimmer formulation. The mattes, like, I could do without, but the shimmers, they're bomb. Oh my gosh, I love, this is the palette number 9, and all of these colors are so unique, and I love that this one is all shimmers because that's what I wanted. Like, they're stunning. This silver industrial, like, look at that. Oh, just absolutely stunning. And this one is palette number 10, and I love this gold in here. It's probably like the only shade I use in this palette, which is really sad. But it is such a like unique and pigmented eyeshadow. Oh, these were like $54, I think. Yeah, that's what I thought. So, like, seeing these come out for $65, like, that's a great bargain compared to those. Show your most affordable palette. So that's going to be my ColourPop Blue Moon palette, which was only $12. And I think this is such a gorgeous palette. I love the ColourPop pressed eyeshadow formulas in the singles. Now, a lot of the palettes that they come out with, the eyeshadows that are in them, the quality are the same as the single eyeshadows. But I've noticed that there are palettes where the shadows aren't as good as the pressed singles. And I don't know why there's an inconsistency between them. They should be the same. But the ones that they've been coming out recently have been really good quality. Show your everyday palette. So that's, I have a couple. One of them is definitely going to be the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. These are just all of my freaking color vibes. Corals, golds, browns. Like, I love this palette so, so much. The shimmers, there's pressed glitters, the mattes blend beautifully. And then another palette I've been using a lot on the reg is this Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy palette. Like, it's a hot mess in here. But you can create like so many different fun looks with this palette. This is definitely, oh, I don't know if I want to say it's my favorite. It's either my favorite or my second favorite out of like all the Anastasia palettes. Okay, the next question is show your most colorful palette. This is kind of hard because I really want to include like the Huda Beauty Obsessions because they are so colorful. They're just one color per palette. So I'm like, well, does that really count as like the most colorful? So either these or this palette I've had so long, but if I ever need like some crazy colors that I don't have in one of my palettes, I'll reach for this. And this is the Kat Von D, what's it called? Mi Vida Loca eyeshadow palette. And it is basically like every color of the rainbow in here. But I can't tell you the last time I've used this. It's at the very bottom of my drawer. Show your smallest palette. Well, that's going to be the Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes again. These little miniatures. Show your biggest palette. Oh, that might have been the Kat Von D one I just showed, actually. Yeah, and probably that is going to have to be my biggest palette. Show your palette with the best memory. Okay, so it's going to be between one of these two Too Faced palettes. The Natural Eyes one, which I showed earlier, and the Sugar Pop palette. So the reason why I say that is because this is when I was really getting into makeup and, you know, like really starting to like hone my craft and get a lot better at it. And I went on a cruise with my ex-fiance. This was when I was engaged. And I remember using like this Natural Eyes palette every night. And I remember thinking, like, I was sitting there doing my makeup with this and I was just so happy. That relationship bombed and failed. He cheated on me for 5 months and was a drug addict, but in that moment I was just so happy. Okay, show a palette worth the hype. So I automatically, it's going to be the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I remember when I got this palette, I used it every day for I can't tell you how long. And if the Amrezy isn't my favorite, it would definitely be this one. This is just like the perfect palette to create like any sort of like brown smoky eye. Like this is just the perfect palette for the fall time. And this was when Anastasia was really starting to get bigger, and this was just like a beautiful color scheme that made sense, and all the colors, you know, made sense with each other. And I definitely think that this lives up to the hype, and it's a palette that everybody should have in their collection. Show a palette not worth the hype. Okay, so a palette not worth the hype, in my opinion, I know many of you may disagree with me, but it's the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe eyeshadow palette. Now, I did not get this when it first came out. I don't know, I was just like, there's so many colors that I already have, and I was just like, and I just never got it for the longest time. And then I finally got it maybe like a year ago, and I was just not impressed at all. Yeah, I just don't see what like the big hype is about this palette at all. I like the volume 2, but this one, not so much. Show your favorite palette from a favorite brand. Oh, I mean, I kind of already talked about my favorites from Anastasia. You know what palette I really truly love and I use so much is this Huda Beauty Neon Orange Obsessions. I just love this palette to death. Like the neons, I'm totally feeling like the neon vibe, and like pinks and corals, definitely up my alley. You know, another palette that I want to include, and I don't think it's worth the hype, is the Natasha Nona Sunrise palette. I got this expecting to be blown away, and while it is a gorgeous palette, I just don't think it was worth the hype. Show your most used palette. Ooh, that's a hard one. I might have to say this ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with. Okay, or the Modern Renaissance. Alright guys, so those are my choices for the eyeshadow palette tag. Let me know like some of your favorite palettes down in the comments below. Do you agree with me on any of these questions? Let me know down below. Alright guys, thanks for joining me. Thank you for being my friend. I love you guys so much. I will see you in my next video.
Cool girl, you're dressing sexy and your mama is a cool girl. So she lets you be with grown folks, then let you hang with the boys and they play you like a fool girl. You got your new hair, it looks so good. You write the same name in your notebook. You know the same one from class, the one you let smash. Now you see around school, when you it's fine, ain't no doubt about it. But why else you think you hit it and forgot about it? It's cause your mind don't match what your ass got. But you're right, you gotta be your own mascot. You see you're looking for a man like you need somebody. Get your ass off of Twitter, you could be somebody. A doctor, a rock star, baby, live life. But you rather wet up on your pillows all night. Even through the joy, I feel the pain. Even in the sun, I feel the rain. Even when I'm high, I feel the lows. Like that's all I know.